Dane DeSantos, he's the channel manager. He resides over the Sage software product line for SPS Commerce. We have MAPADOC, Martha Chinsel. We have Sean Boros, which is a partner at Scanco. And we have Caroline Walsh, VP Sales and Marketing at StarShip. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Dane DeSantos over at SPS Commerce. And thank everybody so much for joining us today. Go ahead, Dane. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Adrian. Hi, everyone. And thanks for taking some time out of your day today to join us. We're going to spend about the next 45 minutes to an hour going over a solution that we have put together from 4 different companies. My name is Dane DeSantis. I'm the channel manager, like Adrian said, at SPS Commerce. And we're going to show you today how a fully integrated supply chain solution is going to allow you to process more orders better, cheaper, and faster. In fact, a recent study shows that companies that acknowledge their supply chain as a strategic differentiator achieve at least a 70% higher performance rate than companies that don't. So we figured getting these companies together to do a webinar like this is going to be beneficial to the Sage 100 marketplace. In addition to me, you're also going to be hearing from Martha Chinsel. She's one of the developers at MAPADOC. Sean Boros, who's a partner at Scanco, and Caroline Walsh, who's VP of Sales and Marketing for StarShip. So each of our companies have been working to help companies automate their supply chain within Sage 100 for at least 15 years. The combination of all 4 of these companies that you're going to be hearing today have worked with over 8,000 Sage customers, obviously mostly in automating supply chain. Some of you on the call today may be working with one of our companies or all the solutions that you're going to see today. And some of them you may only see for the first time. Whether you need to work with EDI or with picking and packing, inventory control, shipping, or all of our solutions combined, there's going to be something that each and every one of you are going to be able to take away from today's webinar. We are all considered market leaders for each of our own business segments, SPS, MAPADOC, and Scanco. We already have hundreds of customers, but we've never gone to market together. So this webinar is really our first step in showing everybody on this webinar today what a fully integrated supply chain solution actually looks like and how it can be beneficial to your business. What I'm going to do is walk you through a visual workflow of what Martha, Sean, and Caroline are going to show you on today's call. On the left side of what you're seeing in front of you would be considered retailers, big box retailers or e-tailers, names that you've seen before, Home Depot, Target, Amazon. With the Christmas season coming up, I'm sure every one of us on this call has shopped at one of these places. You're going to see, as I automate this or animate this presentation, this slideshow, we're going to show orders coming in or going out of each retailer into the SPS Commerce Network. SPS exchanges over 4 million EDI documents a month with over 1,500 retailers and over 50,000 suppliers. Next, what will happen is SPS is going to automatically send the data over to the entry process. Martha is going to take you through that process. By taking advantage of automation, MAPADOC allows users to eliminate data entry and achieve real-time validation. And Martha is going to talk through that process. Once the order has been received by MAPADOC in Sage 100, Scanco is then going to start the picking and packing process for the order. And Sean's going to show you some iOS device. Sean's going to be working on an iPad and showing you how he's going to pick and pack items onto particular orders. And one of the nice things about Scanco is when a company uses a Scanco solution, it eliminates mispicks, reduces the time it actually takes to pick and pack an order, and you're going to get real-time view on the inventory levels within inventory and Sage and see what's available to actually be put on the order. Once Sean has picked and packed the orders, the data is then going to go down to MAPADOC, where the ASN process is going to start. ASN stands for Advanced Ship Notice. That is a document in EDI that allows data or information to be sent to a retailer or e-tailer, shipment being to a warehouse or distribution center or a store, and there are barcoded labels that are tied to it that will essentially, when someone scans the label, going to know what's in that box based on what came in on the advanced ship notice. Once the order is ready to be shipped out, you're going to see Martha go into StarShip and pass it over to Caroline, where she's going to walk you through the integration of StarShip with MAPADOC and Sage 100. At this time, the user has the ability to pick the appropriate carrier that they want the goods shipped out on. They can rate shop, and they can get detailed information about a shipment, which includes within StarShip email notifications and with completed scan information, parcel, and freight. Next, after the order is shipped, MAPADOC is going to pick up the data, validate it, and then send it out over to SPS Commerce. So the data gets validated not only once through MAPADOC, but it also is going to get validated again in SPS Commerce to make sure that it goes through the requirements of that trading partner. So you have two levels of validation for your outgoing documents, both advanced ship notices and invoices or any other document that you're sending outbound that needs to go back to the retailer. SPS offers 24/7 data mining, which allows data that is being sent to partners to be validated. And if the data is not the trading partner, is kicked back to the user that data monitoring. It's going to look at it and say, hey, I see that there's a problem, and we're going to try to fix it ourselves. And if we don't have the ability to fix it, we'll reach out to the customer and say, hey, you got a problem with an ASN or an invoice. Let's get it fixed before it goes out to the partner. So that was a visual representation of what you're going to see. Martha, I'll pass it off to you to start the process after the data has come in through the SPS Commerce Network.
All right, thank you, Dane. Hello, everyone. My name is Martha Chensel, and I'm going to start off with a process here in the MAPADOC solution within Sage 100. As Dane mentioned, the purchase orders from these retailers are going to be received into the SPS network. They will automatically be downloaded to the Sage system to process. There's no additional step that needs to be done for the user to actually bring those orders from SPS into the Sage system. Now today, as far as the order creation process, there's not too much to see, and that's because of our unattended nature with MAPADOC. You do have the ability to set up the entire process of bringing in your purchase orders and validating the data and creating your sales orders unattended. So there is no intervention needed from the user to bring in their orders into the system. Everything can be set up through the Library Master task schedule, and you can schedule it to run as many times a day as you need it to bring those orders into the system. Now, even though it is unattended, there still is data validation going on. It's going to make sure that any cross-referencing you have in the system, you know, from the item through the use of paperless office, all of the reports that are actually generated can be emailed to you, so that if there are any issues with any of the incoming purchase orders, you can review those reports and handle them accordingly. So here's an example of an unattended report that you may have emailed to you through paperless office, letting you know any issues that may have encountered in the sales order creation process. So here's a good example. We had our first PO come in, and you'll see that there were no exceptions found. So that's something you don't need to worry about. That order is already created in the system. But the second one here, you can see that there was an issue. It's letting you know here that a particular item was not found in a cross-reference. And because of that, the unattended creation of that order was skipped. So in this example, the customer sent a new item number on the PO that you don't have set up in your system. So MAPADOC was not going to create that order for you. So for anything that did have these type of errors, they will actually be sitting waiting for you to process within the MAPADOC module manually. So you can come in here, you can set up that item number in your system, go ahead and rerun our validate sales order creation option here which will let you know that all the issues have been corrected. And then you can go ahead and create the sales orders via the menu option as well for those, just those orders that did have issues. Okay. But if there are no issues, there's really nothing you need to do. These orders are going to be sitting here in sales order data entry from you. Most of the information that's coming in on the PO can be mapped into the sales orders, items, department numbers, things like that. And now it's in your system and we are ready to ship it. So I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Sean to go over the shipping process within Scanco.
Thank you, Martha. As Martha said, my name is Sean Boros. I'm a partner. And today what we're going to be doing on the Scanco end is a new product line from us called Scanco Warehouse. And it is basically a cloud-based warehouse management system that is integrated with Sage 100. So it provides users with real-time validation and a real-time feed into Sage so that all of your information is validated in real time as you're scanning. So the solution actually works on any iOS device, any Android device, or any Windows device. So for the first time with Sage 100, users can use iOS devices out in the warehouse, iPads, tablets, iPhones. So it's a solution that is designed cross-platform and based in the cloud. So we actually do all of the warehouse transactions. We do shipping, receiving, physical counts, and you should be able to see my screen at this point. So all of these transactions are things that we automate within the Sage 100 process from a mobile device. Today, since we're dealing with the supply chain, I'm only going to be showing our shipping data entry transaction that is used after you have received the order. As Martha just walked you through, the order is in Sage 100, and so it is ready to be picked. So I am using an iPad mini for today's demonstration. So I'm going to go into shipping, and the first prompt that it's going to want to know is shipper ID. Now, we're kind of following the standard Sage business logic as far as shipping data entry goes. So I'm going to go ahead and scan the shipper ID. And I've got a Bluetooth scanner hooked up right now to iPad, which allows me to scan these entries in. On any of these fields, you can do a lookup, and it will go back to Sage. For example, our next field is sales order number. If I do a lookup here, it's going to go back to Sage 100, grab all of the available sales orders that are available to pick, and display it for the user to choose. Obviously, it's much quicker to scan the barcode, so I'm going to scan the order number. That would be barcoded on the pick sheet that goes down to the warehouse. And so we are working on order that ends in 45, and we are working on box number 1. So that's the advantage that you get out of shipping data entry, is you can put different items in different boxes. So my next prompt is to scan the item number. So I'm going to scan that. Again, it's validating real time that is not only an item set up within Sage 100, but that's also an item on that particular sales order. Then we display what warehouse that we're working in, as well as the unit of measure. Now, the bin prompt is actually, you will see a bin prompt if you're using the multi-bin enhancement from SWK. If you're not using multi-bin, you would not be prompted for a bin. So I'm going to go ahead and scan the bin number. And as you can see, I scanned a wrong barcode. So that will show you that the real-time validation is there. So I'll go ahead and delete that. And then I will do a lookup here. And this is going to show me the bins with quantity available of that item in my warehouse. So I've got 992 on hand there. So I'll enter that. It tells me that the quantity ordered is 0, and the quantity that I have shipped, or I'm sorry, the quantity ordered is 1, and the quantity that to ship is I have not shipped any at this point. So I will go ahead and enter a 1, hit enter, and I'm going to loop back up around for the next item. So at this point, I can scan the next item. I can pack another box by tapping on the next box button down at the bottom, which I'm going to do. So we're going to put the next item in box number 2. So it automatically will increment the box number. I also have 2 other options here. I can go into unresolved, which is the button on the left. That will display any items on this sales order that are unresolved, meaning anything that we have not shipped. So we want users to be able to know if they've missed an order or missed an item or skipped an item, so that when that data gets to Sage 100, that order is fulfilled. You can also use the review function, which will bring up what I've scanned so far. So I can delete if I made a mistake and maybe I said I shipped 2 and there were 3 on this order and there's another one there. I can delete entries that I've made previously and keep going. So I'm going to do a lookup here on the item number. These are the only 2 items that are on this order to ship. So I'll pick item 6655. And again, it's just like the last item. We're going to bring up the warehouse that you're working in. The MB in parentheses is to display to the user whether multi-bin is activated in that particular warehouse or not. So we have multi-bin turned on. Again, it's going to prompt me for what bin am I picking this from. I've got 1 bin with quantity on hand, so I will accept that. Enter a quantity of 1. Hit enter. And that order is then sent into shipping data entry. And the transaction is created within Sage. So I'm going to pass it back to Martha, and she's going to go through creating the advanced ship notification and then on to StarShip for shipping.
Thanks, Sean. Okay, so great. So now with using the Scanco product, they've picked the order out in the warehouse, and they've told me what items are going in what boxes, which is very important information for your shipping and for your ASN document that needs to be sent out to these trading partners. Really nice thing about the integration that we have with Scanco's product is that when you complete that order, if the trading partner requires UCC 128 labels, those UCC 128 labels are going to print automatically when you complete that order on the handheld. So you can go ahead and affix those labels to the boxes. At the same time that it's importing the information into shipping data entry, it's also going to import that information into MAPADOC so that it's available on the ASN and it's available to send to StarShip. So I'm going to go ahead and open our screen here, our Edit Order Package and Label Data screen. And this is a screen that's used in MAPADOC to hold all of the case information. Now, again, some users that don't use Scanco, they use this screen to actually pack out the orders. But what's really nice is we've had Scanco already scan that information in, so there's no duplicate entry needed. We can simply pull up our order here, and we're going to have those 2 packages and with those 2 items automatically filled in here. We also are going to have our labels printed, so if you did need to at any time, you could reprint them from here if you needed to reprint the labels, but they would have been printed at the time the order was completed. And so now I'm actually going to pass this over to Caroline at V Technologies to go over the StarShip process, because we will actually be able to push all of this data that was collected up to StarShip.
Okay, thanks, Martha. This is Caroline from V Technologies. Hey, guys. So Martha went through that process, and Sean already picked it. So we're just going to click on the StarShip button here, and it'll bring StarShip up on screen so that you can actually get the shipping documents and the labels and do any rate shopping from here. So the StarShip screen comes up automatically, and it'll have the information that was on this order, as well as the information that was defined using the tablet. So in the left-hand area over here is just a preview of the shipment that you're going to be shipping out. So StarShip will translate the ship via into the appropriate carrier and service for you, as well as the billing type. So in this case, it's just going to be prepaid on my account. What I want to bring you your attention to is this packaging view down at the bottom. So if I drill into my packages here and I expand this, now you'll see the information that was defined on the tablet by the Scanco solution automatically flowing through MAPADOC and then into StarShip. So this can really help you because obviously, as you see, everything comes in pre-packed. Your items in your boxes, StarShip knows all that information based on the Scanco solution. The other thing that we're going to be bringing over is the weight. If you don't have weights in inventory, you can also have StarShip read the weight directly from an electronic scale if you'd like, but from here we can automate that piece. If I drill even further into this item, you'll notice that we have some information about this item that's coming over and flowing from your inventory, but we also have some shipping-specific information that may not be in your Sage 100 inventory. So things like Schedule B or harmonized code, you may or may not be defining inside as a user-definable field inside of Sage 100. So you have a couple options there. You can either map this into StarShip if you do have a user-definable field, or you can actually store this data in StarShip's database. And as the information gets sent from MAPADOC over to StarShip, StarShip will go out to its own database and fold in any additional information like the Schedule B code to give you a more complete picture of your shipment. If I drill further into this international data, you'll see all the specific pieces about an inventory item that will impact an international shipment. So in addition to the Schedule B or harmonized code, you'll also see EEI classification, which has to do with the AES Direct or SED submissions to the government, as well as other things like the certificate of origin that you want to print. As long as we're talking about international, I'll just quickly go into this international tab here so you'll see all the additional detail about this shipment. One of the other things that StarShip can automate for you is the actual submission to aesdirect.gov. So if you do have or you're shipping items that would require you to actually submit your export information to the government, StarShip can help you do that. And if I just set one of these as non-exempt here, you'll see you have a couple of options. So you can either file on aesdirect.gov directly. And so right now you may be actually going up to aesdirect.gov, logging in, and then inputting all that information as far as the commodities that you're shipping. So with StarShip and the link to aesdirect.gov, StarShip can push that information over to the website, which will minimize the amount of data entry that you have to do from that standpoint. In addition, StarShip can scan the email address that's associated to your AES Direct login so that we can help you with obtaining the ITN number that's going to be associated with shipment. And that will be required in order to actually complete the shipment. If you decide you don't want to go with the aesdirect.gov, obviously at that point the carrier will also be charging you for the service. So from here I can also do a rate shop, and when StarShip does a rate shop, it's basically going to go out to all the available carriers that are loaded in the system and come back with the carriers and services that are available for you to ship on this particular shipment. When we're rating directly with the carrier sites, then you do have the ability to see either the list rate, which is the published rate by the carrier, or you can actually see your negotiated contract rate with the carrier. If you have maybe some volume-based discounts, you'll see those flowing into StarShip from here. You can also from here sort on the various data aspects for if you wanted to look at the delivery date and time to help you make your decision on which carrier and service to go with. If you didn't want to actually have the shipper make that decision, you can actually use StarShip's ship via rules to define the parameters that you would consider to be either fastest or cheapest. And then StarShip can actually auto-select the carrier and service. And then from there, based on the roles and permissions in StarShip, you can either allow the shipper to overwrite what StarShip selects, or you can require that the shipper go with whatever was selected based on your conditions. If I decide to go ahead and keep the carrier in service as it was translated from this particular shipment, I'll go ahead and process the shipment. I can either hit F5 or click this button up here. StarShip will print the barcoded shipping labels and then send the information back over to MAPADOC. So here's the label for my first package. And this happens to be an 8.5 by 11 sheet that has the packing list plus the shipping label all in one. So this is a little die cut area of the 8.5 by 11. The nice thing here, again, that we want to note is because we have the integration with Scanco and MAPADOC, StarShip knows what items are in which box, so it can help you automate this whole packing list printing. StarShip also supports printing the packing list to a thermal label printer. So if you would prefer to have everything come out on the thermal label printer and maybe utilize label stock that you're getting free from the carrier, you could have the shipping label print out first, followed by the packing list. So you basically have 2 labels coming out for each package. So that's my first package. And then the second package that Sean scanned had the printer stand in it. So here's the packing list and the shipping label for that one. And because this was an international shipment, StarShip will print the international documentation for you. This happens to be the commercial invoice. It basically has mainly the header level information from this order at the top of the invoice. So here you'll see that order number that was used across all the solutions that you saw today, the associated PO number, the ship to, and then down in the body of this document will be level information. So here's my filing cabinet and my printer stand along with the Schedule B codes and all the information associated to those. StarShip does come with a template that does allow you to modify the look and feel of these documents if you'd like. In addition, you can create conditions on when these documents will print. So if you want to have different looking documents based on the bill to, you could do things like that. Here's my NAFTA CO that's coming out. Because it was a Canadian shipment, it is going to be a NAFTA type certificate of origin. Again, my header level information at the top, and then my item level detail in the body of this document. Okay, and before I pass it back to Martha, I just wanted to show everybody one other benefit that you can get with the combined solutions as it relates to shipping, and that's the email notifications that you can send to your customers. So once you've shipped the package, you may want to then send a shipment notification out to your customer. And with StarShip now, you can actually create your own templates as far as how this email is going to look and feel. So you can add your logo, you can add information that's coming directly from the Sage document, things like PO number that might be beneficial for your actual customer. They may know the PO number more than the sales order number that was created from the MAPADOC solution. And then here in the body of this email, you'll see the information. Again, all that information that was gathered using the Scanco solution can then also be used for the email that's going to go out to your customer so that your customer knows here's the package, the tracking number, and then all that additional detail about the items, the quantities that were shipped in that individual box. Okay, and I think it's all set for you, Martha.
All right, great. Thanks, Caroline. So within StarShip, you can see that she shipped those 2 packages, and I just want to show you that the tracking information will flow to MAPADOC. So this particular screen here, we have the ability to look at detail in our individual cartons, but you'll notice here that we now have tracking numbers that were assigned directly from StarShip. MAPADOC will also store the freight amounts as well. So when this information flows to the rest of the system, your invoice will be updated with those tracking numbers and the freight according to the way that you have it set up in the system, whether you want to bill the customer for the freight or not. Okay. So now we're ready to actually assign this order to an actual shipment so the ASN can be sent out. So we can do that by hitting this Create button here, all from one screen. This will bring up this screen here, and it actually will highlight for you in red all of the fields that are being required from the particular customer or trading partner that you're dealing with. Every retailer has different requirements as far as what information they want sent on these documents. So this system will actually alert you, and it will be different per trading partner what fields are highlighted in red here. But you can be assured then that you know that the correct information that is required is being filled in properly. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Create here. And so what this is going to do is actually assign this order to an ASN that you can then send out. So now this ASN is waiting to be sent out to SPS Commerce. So if you had other orders to process, you could process all of your orders within this option using StarShip, create the ASN, and then when you're ready to actually send the ASNs out, you're simply going to bring up this option here to create your ASN. Now this screen will actually hold all of the ASNs that are ready. So whether it's Target, whether it's Walmart, you can process them all from within one screen. Also, a very nice feature about this is the ability to validate the data before you actually send it out. So by checking this box and hitting Proceed, it's going to go through the entire process as if it was sending these out without actually doing it. Okay? And it's going to let you know, give you an exception report, and prompt you with the validation, any validation errors that may have occurred. Okay, so things like cross-referencing. So if you're utilizing any, maybe you need to cross-reference the ship via method with the SCAT code that needs to go on the ASN, or you have cross-referencing in the system for their item numbers or their ship-to codes. This report will let you know if there are any of those cross-references are not set up, so that you can go ahead and correct those before the document goes out the door. Also, this will alert you if there are any missing fields. So you saw on that screen when I actually generated that ASN, those fields were in red. Well, if any of those were missing, so if I didn't fill in the ship date, or if I was requiring a pro number and the pro number was not filled in, you would actually see messages on this report alerting you to those blank fields that are required, so that you could exit out of this screen and go ahead and fill that information in prior to sending the document. Now this is a validation report, exactly what you want to see. There are no issues listed here. So we're good to go ahead and actually send these out. So I'm going to clear my report, and it knows that I was actually validating that transaction, so it will automatically ask me if I want to create them now. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Same screen here, but by hitting Proceed without having that validation box checked, it is going to actually go out and generate those files that will be automatically picked up from SPS Commerce. And what's really nice with this is that you've got data validation going on within the transaction entry screen to let you alert you to fields that are missing. You've got a validation step before it gets sent out of MAPADOC from SPS. And then you will also have validation on SPS's side. They are going to take the transaction that you sent them and run through all of the rules that are set up for that particular trading partner. And if there are any issues, they're going to alert you that there's something wrong and not send it to the trading partner, okay, so that you can correct it and resend it. If there are no issues, SPS is then going to go ahead and forward that on to your trading partner as soon as they can. So this is the exception report that will come out after the ASINs are actually created. And I will just point out one note is that we do have extensive archiving throughout our product. So any file processed inbound from MAPADOC or outbound will be archived. So if you at any time need to reference it for troubleshooting purposes or you need to resend something, you can absolutely do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close out of here. Now we'll go over and take a look at the invoice that's sitting in shipping data entry. Okay, enter my shipping number, and we'll pick out my order. Now, you can see here that my freight amount was updated automatically from StarShip, and also all of my tracking numbers flowed through to this order as well, so you have this information on your invoice for you. Okay. So now, when it's been shipped out, now you want to get paid for your product. You're going to want to send out the EDI invoice as well. And with this process, it's very simple. There's really no extra steps you need to do to send out EDI invoices. You're really going to just do the normal steps that you would do within Sage to close out your invoices anyway. By running your sales reports and updates, there are actually settings within MAPADOC that allow you to automatically send those invoices out to SPS Commerce upon posting. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and review my journal report. and I'm going to say yes that I want to update. So it's going to not only update my orders, my invoices for me, but during that process, it will actually send those invoices to SPS Commerce. They'll pick them up, again, validate them against the trading partner's invoice requirements, and if there are no issues, they will send them off to the trading partner. If there are issues, you'll get email notifications directly from SPS letting you know each individual invoice number that had an issue, what the issue was, so that you can correct it and resend it. Okay, so now we've come full circle with our order processing. I'm going to go ahead and pass this back to Dane.
Thanks, Martha. This is the same slide you guys saw prior to starting the presentation, and I figured a good way to sum it all up is go through it again and talk through it to see the visual representation of which companies do what, and where each one of the aspects that you've just seen reside on one common slide. So again, if you look on the left-hand side, those are the retailers or e-tailers that are sending the orders to a particular supplier through the SPS Commerce Network, where Martha said the orders will be validated. And one of the things that I left out originally was, and Martha alluded to it on the outbound side, but on the inbound side, when an order comes in, you have the ability to get an email as a user to identify that new orders have been placed from your retailers, and new orders are available to be brought in via MAPADOC. So the data comes in from SPS Commerce automatically without any user intervention. The data gets into MAPADOC, and as Martha explained, the data gets validated, and the orders get created. One of the nice things about the integration with MAPADOC is the orders are there and available for if any changes are necessary, or if anything's necessary to enter, delete an item, change a ship date. Some of the misconceptions about EDI data is that once the order is created, that the order is locked. And in Sage 100, that's just not true. You can make the changes that are necessary when the data comes in. So the data is in, the sales order has been created. Sean picked it up. He was picking and packing it with the iOS device and the scanner using the lookups, identifying what bin the item should come from if using the SWK multi-bin. If not, it'll just default it to the appropriate bin. It gives you the quantity that's on order, the quantity available that needs to be shipped, tells you what's been shipped. Then Scanco passes it back to MAPADOC, where Martha opened up the advanced ship notice screen, and that's where you saw that StarShip button, and Caroline brought you through StarShip, where you're doing the rate shopping, picking the carriers, getting all those nice forms for international shipping. Then Caroline handed it back over to Martha, where Martha went through the advanced ship notice screen, showed you where those validation fields that were required by those particular trading partners were, where it was different for every trading partner. Then Martha sent out that ASN over to the SPS Commerce Network, and then she went into shipping data entry, showed you those tracking numbers that flowed all the way through from the advanced ship notice to the invoice, did the invoicing from shipping data entry, did the daily sales journal and the update register, and the data got automatically created and sent out to the SPS Commerce Network, where once MAPADOC did its first validation, making sure that all the information was correct, comes to SPS Commerce, does that second level of validation, and then once all the data is good, it gets sent back out to the trading partners or retailers who sent you the original orders. So that's that's the process as you see it on one screen. This is Dane. I know that all of us on the call, thank you for being on today's call, and Adrian, I'm going to pass it back over to you.
Thank you, Dane, so much. Thank you, all you presenters. That was a great presentation. We do have a couple questions, and I'd like to go ahead and just show my screen here. You should all be able to see contact information. Dane, can you see the contact information on my screen?
Yeah, we can, yep.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and launch some polls while we're reading off the questions, and if everyone wants to take note of the contact information for every presenter on this call. So I'm just going to launch a couple polls and read the questions. All right, so if the attendees could just take a moment to answer this first question, that would be wonderful. And the question is, are you interested in learning more about shipping automation? The first question that we have, how is the auto printing set up for the UCC 128 when the order is picked with Scanco?
I'll kind of take that. All of the actual setup of the label, you know, what formats are being used and the designs of the labels are handled within the MAPADOC setups, because we've already got all that information there to just, you know, determine by the trading partner what labels need to be printed. But what happens is actually when Scanco uploads that packaging information into shipping data entry, they're actually also calling some functions within MAPADOC to pass that data over to MAPADOC as well, and then they initiate the label printing from within MAPADOC. So they're just kind of, instead of the user having to push a button to print the label, Scanco is pushing that button for you automatically. Does that answer the question?
Thank you, Brian, for your question. If you need further clarification, please let us know. And we have another question here. Will Scanco work with BOL version of StarShip? Thank you, Paul.
I'll take that one. This is Caroline from V Technologies. Thanks, Paul, for that question. And that definitely will work. If you have the BOI interface with StarShip, you can access the invoices, and we actually have an enhancement where you can access the invoices by the order number. So you can use the same barcode that was used during the Scanco process and scan that into StarShip, and then StarShip will pull all the item and package level information at that point. In that instance, you know, this may be a workflow when you don't have EDI shipments. And then you can continue with the MAPADOC workflow for your EDI shipments if you'd like to do that.
And I'd also like to make special note, there's two contacts for MAPADOC. There's Helene Thurston and there's Patty Benitez. Patty also works with the multi-bin solution as well. So if you have any questions related to multi-bin, please reach out to Patty. But both contacts support each other at SWK, so if you have specific questions for MAPADOC, either one of these two would be great contacts for you over there. So let's see, we have several questions coming in, so bear with me. Let's see, how can Scanco help with the receiving process with serialized inventory? Thank you, Andrew.
I can take that one. That's a good question, Andrew. We automate, we just basically showed today shipping data entry, but we do automate the rest of the transactions within your warehouse. So similar to shipping, when you issue a purchase order, we're going to let you scan the purchase order, validate that that's in there, and then validate and scan items coming in and quantities off of that purchase order. Because we're connected real time to Sage 100, we know if an item is lotted, serialized, or neither. So if you do scan a serialized item, it's going to bring up the prompt that forces you to scan a serial number. Same works with lot if any of you are using lot numbers. So we go back to Sage 100 and look at the item valuation, and if it's lotted or serialized, we add that prompt. We only do one prompt at a time, and add stuff as you fulfill the prompt before. So as you scan, if it's a serialized item, we would bring up a serialized prompt. So I hope that answers your question.
And I do have a question up on the screen right now. Are you interested in learning more about EDI? And we do have a question. Thank you, Joanne, for your question. EDI is electronic data interchange. And I'm going to go ahead and let Dane elaborate on the EDI question up on your screen. Dane, I have a poll open that you probably can't see because you're a presenter, but I'm asking the audience if they're interested in learning more about EDI, and we do have a question on what is EDI.
EDI is the process that I was explaining when the retailers send orders electronically to SPS Commerce. That's EDI is a general term. Adrian said it stands for Electronic Data Interchange. If you're working with any big box retailers or e-tailers like you saw in the presentation, especially companies like Walmart or Amazon, they're going to require any of their suppliers to trade business documents such as purchase orders and invoices electronically. In most cases, specifically with Walmart, you can't even do business with them without trading data electronically. So there are documents, business documents, purchase orders and invoices. They have codes that are attached to them. So if you have ever heard of a document, a purchase order called an 850, that's what it's referring to. It's the numerical value that is attributed to a purchase order that is sent between a vendor and a supplier.
And then we do have another question. Thank you, Brian, again for further elaboration on your former question. Invoices can be created through the MAPADOC module as well, correct?
Yes, that is actually a trading partner by trading partner basis, but since we were showing the integration here with Scanco, when you ship an order with Scanco, it automatically creates that invoice for you. So in that scenario, you wouldn't want MAPADOC to create the invoice because it's already there. But if you were not utilizing the Scanco solution, you could set up MAPADOC to do all of the packing and shipping that's required for your ASN and still integrate with StarShip, and then have it generate the invoice based on that information as well.
And then thank you, Holly, for your question. Does StarShip have the ability to store customer shipping account numbers?
Hi, Ollie. Good question. Yes, you can store customer account numbers in StarShip, or if you prefer, you can actually pull them from a field inside of Sage. So it's completely up to you how you handle that. But that can definitely happen in order to typically automate the billing type with the account number associated to it.
And does MAPADOC interface with e-commerce hub or Commerce Hub? The question is Commerce Hub, but I'm thinking maybe it's e-commerce hub.
They're most likely talking about Commerce Hub. That's really where the integration would happen. There would be actually at the SPS level. SPS does all of the communications to and from the trading partners, and yes, they would be able to connect through Commerce Hub, and then SPS will from there. But it can be handled, yes.
Martha, could you just repeat that last part of your answer? You kind of timed out a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying that SPS Commerce is actually the one that would be doing the integration with Commerce Hub, because they do all of the actual sending and receiving of the EDI data. However, we do work with Commerce Hub, so it will, the process within MAPADOC is the same. All the data gets sent to SPS, and then SPS will forward that off to the appropriate trading partner, or whether that's going through Commerce Hub or not.
And do you have the ability to also integrate with Amazon's Vendor Central?
I don't know. I was just thinking. We work with several different connection types to Amazon. I know they have Amazon Warehouse, and they have, as you mentioned, Amazon Vendor Central. We connect to them in a variety of different ways. So I would say yes. Adrian, if you wouldn't mind giving me their contact information, I can get a definite answer and reply appropriately.
Perfect. Thank you, Stephen. We will definitely get back to you with further clarification along those lines. Is SPS Commerce akin to a Ariba network, or more like an EDI translator, like Trusted Link, etc.? Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks, Thomas, for the question. SPS Commerce, we don't consider ourselves a van. We do allow for communication of EDI data back and forth between vendors and suppliers. We are, in conjunction with MAPADOC, doing validation of data. We are making sure that the data gets to where it needs to go. We also work with PO data. So, for example, Home Depot have a big push on their suppliers to be responsible for what inventory is actually, what's happening at the store level for the inventory of a particular item for a supplier. So we're not like Trusted Link. We are, in my opinion, more than that because we offer so many other solutions. EDI data, like I said, the POS. We also do catalog stuff, so you could replace the QRF catalog with our solution. And we have other solutions that we, services that we offer our customers.
And Jessica and Scott, thank you. We will definitely get back in touch with you regarding the Amazon Vendor Central question as well. And Andrew, thank you for your question. Does StarShip alert the carrier that a package is ready to be picked up?
Hey, Andrew. Thanks for your question. This is Caroline. Typically, our customers have daily pickup. So in which case, if you're using some of the larger parcel carriers like UPS and FedEx, they'll require a daily pickup in order to actually be connected. Other carriers, like LTL carriers, we do have tendering transactions if those are supported by the LTL carrier. And the post office, we also have an option there to request a pickup.
Do I really need to send acknowledgement to the customer, or does the program do it automatically?
Well, I'm not sure exactly which software she's talking about. There are a couple different acknowledgments when in the world of EDI. One is a functional acknowledgment, which is also sometimes referred to as a 997 document. That is handled by SPS Commerce, and so when you receive a purchase order electronically, that functional acknowledgement is simply saying, yes, I received it. Not necessarily acknowledging that you are going to accept the order and ship it, but it's acknowledging that, yes, you did receive it electronically. And so that would be sent out automatically from the SPS Commerce network. The other type of acknowledgement typically in EDI is what we refer to as the PO acknowledgement, which is an 855 document, which is going that extra step and saying, not only did I receive the PO electronically, I am accepting the purchase order, this is when I'm going to ship it, and some of them even go into, if it's back ordering and things like that. You absolutely have the ability to send that sentiment from within MAPADOC. And there are various options as far as how you can set that up. It can be set up to be unattended, meaning that when you create the order, it automatically sends that PO acknowledgement out for you. But for certain trading partners, you may actually have to update the sales order with information before you send that out. So in that scenario, you have the ability to update any values on the order that need to be, and then you can send the PO acknowledgement out of MAPADOC and back through SPS Commerce.
And thank you so much, Stephen, for both these questions. We have another one. Do we need to have MAPADOC to link all of these procedures together? In other words, can we get automation on a level where sales order data will populate as much as possible over to StarShip, or do we need MAPADOC to do this? I was told we needed a program called Biointerface Overlink 2.0 to make this possible.
I like that name.
Yeah, I do too.
Hey, Stephen, it's Caroline, and maybe Sean and I can have a combo answer here, but if you do not require EDI or you have non-EDI shipments, then absolutely you can still take advantage of the information that is gathered using the handheld or tablet devices through the Scanco solution. Scanco can automatically create the invoice if you do a pick and pack, and then StarShip can pull that information directly for you so that you still get that same look and feel of the pre-populated box to item level detail and be able to use the item information to help with your shipping, and then send that information back into the invoice that was created by Scanco. So you can still have that workflow happen even if you have non-EDI requirements. But if you do have EDI requirements, you definitely want to go the MAPADOC route so that MAPADOC can take care of all the EDI transactions for you.
Yeah, and do we want to clarify, the name of the product that sits within Sage 100 is actually the StarShip Link product? 2.0? I think that's what he was maybe referring to. If I had to guess. Okay.
Yeah, so you might be, Martha's absolutely correct there, StarShip Link. We have a couple versions of it. StarShip Link 1.0 is the pretty old version that was distributed with the older versions of Sage 100 or MAS. And since then, we've updated it. We have a Link 2.0 that works with v4.5 and a Link 2.1 that works with 2013.
And Stephen, you are clarifying here, I didn't mean with Scanco. So we will get back in touch with you directly, Stephen. We'll hopefully put some time on your calendar to clarify your questions here to make sure we are on the same page. He's clarifying here, I meant with inside sales putting together an order, then auto-populating. I'm sorry, I'm getting several questions at the same time, so just bear with me here, my question pane. Okay, so I meant with inside sales putting together an order, then auto-populating that order into StarShip, where our shipping guys can just pull that order and ship.
Hey, Stephen, it's Caroline again, and yes, you can do that. You can either do that from shipping data entry inside of sales order shipping function in your Sage 100 system, or you can do that outside of Sage 100 using our BOI interface, which stands for Business Object Interface Architecture. It's just basically a layer in Sage that allows us to communicate directly with the Sage data. And with that particular interface, if you're not using Scanco to do the pick and the pack, then you can ship against an order, and as a result of shipping that order, StarShip can create the invoice. So that can be done as well.
And hi, Peggy. Thank you so much for your question. We currently use Quality. Is SPS Commerce a replacement to Quality? And she's spelling Quality Qualedi. Or can they both be used at the same time?
Hi, Peggy. This is Dane. So yes, SPS would be a replacement for Qualedi. However, one of the unique features of SPS Commerce is that we have the ability to integrate as well as keep some of what you would consider trading partners on our web forms product. So we would replace it if you wanted to do integration. Otherwise, if you felt like the amount of data that you're getting from a particular trading partner, the number of orders didn't warrant integration, there is an opportunity for you to use the SPS Web Forms portal for non-integration. Otherwise, we could replace Qualedi.
Okay, so we have several more questions coming in, and thank you everybody for your attendance here. I see that we are 2 minutes away from our scheduled time here, so I would just encourage everyone to stay on to hear the questions, but we may run over, and we did record all of this, and we will have the recording available. So please let me know if you'd like that recording, and we will get that over to you. Is the StarShip rate shop feature available at the level of sales order entry so the customer could choose the carrier? Most of our orders are not electronic. And I'm just getting several other questions here, so bear with me. I just lost that one.
Hey, Adrian.
Are not electronic, old-fashioned phone calls from the end user. We could tell them the price, delivery dates, etc., and then can have choices. Is this possible? Thank you, Joanne.
Hey, Joanne, it's Caroline, and thank you very much for the question, because we do have a new rate shop utility that we've created from within sales order. It allows you to basically hit a StarShip button to see a browser-based view of the rate shop. You can do address validation from there. You can sort by delivery dates and times. You can see both your list and your contract rates. So you can do that through the sales order entry. The solutions that we offer are for v4.5 and 2013.
And Andrew, yes, we will offer you the recording so that you can show others the recording. Can Scanco help associate an item serial number with an additional barcode, such as MAC address, during receiving process?
I would assume so. I don't really understand the full question, but yeah, I mean, we're recording upon PO receipts what items are coming in, the quantities, and verifying all that against what's on that actually on that purchase order. And then if serialized items, same thing. You're going to scan the serial number in, and then you're going to scan that serial number all the way through, until the shipment, so that we're tracking that serial number as it moves throughout the warehouse.
And can UDF fields be added to the Scanco app? Thank you, Bella.
Yes. Yes.
And for non-EDI orders, can you scan and not have the orders go directly to shipping data entry?
Meaning we also do invoice data entry? Is that, maybe that's the question? If a customer's not using shipping data entry?
And Peggy, if you could further clarify your question, or if maybe it's been answered, let us know. And let me just scan here, make sure I got all the questions. Got that one. Got that one. All right, looks like we've got all the questions. If you have any questions, please go ahead and text them into this text box. But I'd just like to once again thank everybody for attending. You should see all the contact information for each presenter on the webinar today. Would any of the presenters like to close with anything further?
No, just thank you, Adrian, for putting this together, and thank you, everybody who took time today to attend.
It's my pleasure, and we will be back in touch with everybody. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Great, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.